All right, let's get right into it. In this explainer, we are going to show you how to run Claude Code, which is an amazing AI coding assistant, completely for free. And the best part, you don't need some beast of a machine to do it. We're going to walk through exactly how to hook it up to free cloud models so you can just bypass all that expensive hardware and the paid default options.
So here's the plan for today. First, we'll tackle the big problem: why running these models on your own computer is so tough. Then we'll introduce the solution, a really clever gateway called OpenRouter. After that, I'll give you the step-by-step setup. We'll even cover a few common hurdles you might run into. And finally, we'll look at how you can go beyond free and get some seriously smart, low-cost upgrades.
Okay, so let's dive in. The first major roadblock that pretty much everyone hits when they try to use free, self-hosted AI is a big one, and it all comes down to hardware.
It really just boils down to this question. The dream is to have this powerful, free AI running right there on your own machine. But the reality? Well, the reality is you need some serious, and I mean serious, computing power that most of us just don't have sitting around the house. So let's just try to put this into perspective for a second. Even what's considered a small open source coding model can demand 14 gigabytes of video memory, or VRAM. Now, think about this. A brand new laptop might have 16 gigs of total memory. Once your operating system takes its cut and you open a few browser tabs, well, you're already out of luck. It's just not going to happen. And what if you want to run one of the big guns? The massive Qwen 3 coder model. You'd need a jaw-dropping 290 gigabytes of VRAM. That's not just expensive. For the average person, it's basically impossible. At that point, you might as well just be paying for a premium service anyway. But what if we could just sidestep that whole hardware problem? What if we could bypass it completely? Well, that's where our solution comes in. Let's talk about this fantastic service called OpenRouter. The easiest way to think about OpenRouter is like a universal adapter, or a master key for the world of AI. You sign up, you get one single API key, and boom, that key unlocks access to hundreds of different models hosted on someone else's super powerful computers. And this is why it's such a game changer. It solves all of our problems in one go. You get that single key, you can suddenly access those enormous models we were just talking about. And here's the kicker. Many of them are completely free to use. We're talking zero cost for input tokens and zero for output, all without needing a single extra gigabyte of VRAM on your end. Okay, time to get our hands dirty. I'm going to walk you through the exact step-by-step process to get Claude Code talking to the OpenRouter gateway. So you're going to need to open up your settings.json file. There are just 4 little things to change. First, you'll paste in your OpenRouter API key. Second, you have to change the Anthropic base URL, that's the company that makes Claude, and point it to OpenRouter instead. Third, you set the model name you want to use. And fourth, and this one is super important, you have to leave the original Anthropic API key field completely blank. And here's a little pro tip, a common gotcha that comes up. If you're running into weird errors and things just aren't working, try adding a little bit of credit, maybe $10, to your OpenRouter account. You won't actually spend it on the free models, but for some reason, it seems to fix authentication issues for some new accounts. Now, you've got 2 ways you can apply these settings. If you want it just for a specific project, you can do a local setup. Just make a little folder called .claw inside your project and drop the settings file in there. Simple. Or, if you want this to be your default for everything, you can do a global setup. You just open your main Claude config file and paste those same 4 lines into the environment block. All right, so there is one common speed bump you might run into, especially when you're using the most popular free models. But don't worry, the workaround for this is super simple and really effective. So you might be coding along, everything's going great, and then bam, you get an error that says something like rate limiting being applied upstream. All this really means is that a ton of people are trying to use that same free model at the exact same time, and the servers are just overloaded. It's a natural side effect of popular, free stuff. So what's the fix? Well, the solution is to use this clever thing called the Free Models Router. It's a special endpoint from OpenRouter that works like a smart traffic controller. Instead of you trying to knock on one specific crowded door, it automatically finds an open lane for you, any available free model that's ready to go. And using this couldn't be easier. All you do is go back into your settings file, find that line with the model name, and change it to OpenRouter/free. That's it. From then on, your requests will just automatically get sent to a capable model that's free and waiting, which means your prompts will almost always go through. So we've unlocked free AI coding, which is awesome. But what's really powerful about this whole setup is that you now have a gateway to incredibly cheap, high-performance paid models too. Let's take a look at how that works. First things first, let's just be realistic for a second. The free models are fantastic for a lot of things, but they're not going to outperform the absolute top-tier premium models like Opus 4.6, especially for really complex coding. The performance just isn't in the same league. But there are some models out there that get incredibly close for just a tiny fraction of the price. A really highly recommended one for coding tasks is a model called Mini-X 2.5. In some programming benchmarks, it actually scores #1, performing almost as well as the industry giants. And this right here, this is the whole story. Just look at these numbers. To process 1 million tokens, which is a lot of code, Opus 4.6 costs you $5 for the input and a whopping $25 for the output. Mini-X 2.5, 30 cents on the way in and $1.20 on the way out. It's no contest. You're getting near premium performance for pennies. And the best part is just how flexible this makes you. Because you're already set up with OpenRouter, if you want to switch from a free model to a powerhouse like Mini-X, it's as simple as changing that one little line, the model name, in your settings file. You can swap back and forth in seconds whenever you want. So there you have it. You've basically just been handed a master key that unlocks hundreds of different AI engines, from the free workhorses to the low-cost champions. The only real question left is, which one are you going to fire up first?